Alright, hey everyone, welcome back to another use case video of our Salesforce Developer Masterclass. This is Himanshu from Salesforce Makes Sense, and in this video, we'll look at another use case. Right, so let's take a look at the use case. So this says, write a method that checks the marks on individual subjects and displays the highest and lowest marks as result. Alright, so this would be your report card. Let's say you have 5 subjects where you have attempted your exams on and you've received certain marks on it, right? We need to find out what is the highest mark and what is the lowest mark. All right, so let's say it's 85, 94, 33, 48, and 77. So you should get the highest mark as the result and the lowest mark as the result. These two things should be displayed or returned. All right, so let's try to achieve this in our developer console using our Apex class that we are working on. I'll create another method here, and just if you see, we have slowly and gradually built 4 methods and we have learned a good deal, right? Let's continue. So I'll just say check highest and lowest. All right, and I'll just mark it as void for now. We'll see what kind of data do we want to return from it. For those of you who want to proceed ahead, go ahead, pause the video and try it on your own. For those of you who want to see me and do it with me, just continue with this video. All right, great. So what we want is the input from the user should be their scorecard, meaning the subject name versus the marks that they've scored, right? So can I say that I'll need a map for it? And the map would be of type string comma integer, correct? So I'll say my report card equals new map of string comma integer, and this is where they'll put their reports result. So I'll say dot put, let's say science 88, right? Or let's put a PCM physics. Right, so what I've done is I've created this variable, and this variable will probably hold something like this, right? My report card. So this should be our method parameter. So this should be of type string comma integer. All right, let me just comment this out for now. We'll use it in the debug console when we are calling the method. All right, this was just for understanding. Let's save it. Now, what I want to do is I want to find the highest and the lowest score, correct? So what can I do? I can iterate over my map. So I'll say for each subject in my report card dot key set, correct? What I can do here is I can iterate over each subject, check the value, compare it with a variable and store it. If there's any value that's bigger, we will replace it, right? If this big line did not make sense, let me show you what I'm trying to say. So I'll say, what is the value? How do I receive the value from the map? So I'll say my report card dot get subject. So this will give me, for if I put physics, if physics in the iteration, it will give me 88, correct? So what I'll do is I'll create a variable here, integer max marks equals 0, integer min marks equal to 0. So this is just an initialization. All right, where should this initialization be? This should be outside the for loop. Remember why? Because it will not get overridden. Let's keep it outside for now. Okay, so I've defined 2 variables, max marks and min marks. And what I want to do is whatever is the value that comes from my iteration, I want to store it in these variables, and then I want to compare whether it is smaller than the value I have here or larger than the value I have here, and then replace it. That's what I mean. So let me quickly show you what I mean. So I'll say integer subject mark equals whatever is the value that comes out of here. Correct? So let's say for the first iteration, it will be 88 for physics. So what I'll do is I'll say if max marks is less than whatever is the subject marks I've gotten here. In that case, replace whatever is in the max marks with subject marks. And if min marks is greater than whatever is the subject marks, then replace min marks with subject marks. Now, what does this mean? I'm trying to find out the minimum mark and the maximum mark from the entire list. So if I give this particular map as the variable parameter, what would be the minimum marks? 66, and the maximum marks would be 99. Agreed? Correct. Now let's see how this iteration would work. Initially, we'll set both of the flags to 0, both of the counters to 0. Now it will start by iterating over the my report card map. So on each key set, so physics, chemistry, biology, maths, extracurricular, 5 times this loop will run. It will come inside for physics with 88 marks. Right? Now this is 88. So now here subject marks is 88, max marks is 0, min marks is also 0. Why? Because this is the first time it is coming and that is what we have initialized. Now this will check, is 0 less than 88? If 0 is less than 88, yes, then replace 0 with 88. Why? Because I am getting a number which is bigger than me, because I want to store the maximum mark, right? So I want to store whatever is bigger than me, store it. So I am reassigning whatever is in the subject marks to max marks. So as part of this if condition, this will evaluate and max marks will become 88. Similarly, I'll check, is min marks greater than subject marks? So is 0 greater than subject marks? 88. False. So it will not go inside and it will stay outside. Alright, so min marks will stay 0. So there's a problem here. We'll talk about it. Alright, so min marks will stay 0. Similarly, it will continue for chemistry, 66. So is 88 less than 66? No, it is more, so it will not go inside. It will keep the max marks as 88. So your maximum marks is getting retained. It will only go inside if it finds something that is more than 88. So it will reach here at 99 and it will check, okay, subject marks is 99. So is 88 less than 99? Yes, go inside, update the max marks as 99. All right, so you're good with the max marks information. So let's quickly, after the for loop, put a debug statement for now. Okay, so I'll say system.debug max marks is, and let's assume that our minimum marks logic is also working fine. Okay, I've explained you the max marks, but let's see what is in the minimum marks. Save. All right, now what I want to do is I want to take this entire map, put it here, call it, and then call my method to check highest and lowest. And I'll pass my report card variable as the method parameter. And I have to call it by calling the class dot. So I'll say basic uses dot. Yeah. So now let's say execute. So if we take a look at the logs, let's see the debug only log. So the maximum marks is 99, which is perfect, which is exactly what we wrote. So let's quickly remove this and make this 79. Now what should be the highest value? 92. Let's quickly check. So it's always safe to, debug and check your methods more than once. Maybe first time it might be a mistake, right? So it's good to check more than once. So you see now it is working fine. It is 92 now, which means our method is giving the data for maximum marks very perfectly, very fine. All correct. However, min marks should have been 66, but it is always 0. I hope you already understood why is it always 0. Because in this condition we are checking, is minimum marks greater than subject marks? So 0 will never be greater than any of these. So it is always being false and never getting assigned. Correct? So what we want to do is, for the very first time, we want to set the minimum marks as whatever is the value in the first record that is from the map. All right. So what we can do is we can store my record card dot get 0. So I can store the 0th index of my map. Whatever is the value in the 0th index, I'll store that. Okay. I don't think we can do dot get here. What I'll have to do is I'll have to do it inside the for loop. So let's go ahead and put it 0 here, and I'll say min marks equals my report card dot get subject. All right. So I've just assigned the very first value to min marks. But if you understand, this assignment will happen every time, correct? Because it is running in a loop, it will happen every time. What do I want to do is I want to do it only for the first iteration. So how do I ensure that this happens only for the first time and not for any more times? I'll simply put a if condition, right? Now what should be my if condition? My if condition should be if min marks double equal to 0, only in that case assign the min marks to the very first subject variable value that I'm getting. If not, then continue and just do your logic down below. Now let's get rid of all the extra comments first of all. And this time we already know that our max logic is working fine. Let's test our min logic. So min logic is assigned 0. Perfect. It will go inside here, run 5 times because it's a loop. It will come into this particular if condition. For the very first time, what are we coming with? We are coming with physics 88. Right? So is min marks equal to 0? Yes, true. It will come inside and it will assign 88 to the minimum marks variable. Perfect. It will assign 88 to minimum marks. So minimum marks is 88, max marks is 0 in the first iteration right now. It will now come here. It will take a look at the subject marks, which is again 88. It will check for the maximum. This is working fine. We already know. We'll just work on this particular logic. So now what will happen is 88 greater than 88 for the first iteration, false, it will not go inside. So minimum marks will stay as is. Correct? What is the next one? Next is 66. So it will run for 66. So it has come for 66. Now is minimum marks equal to 0? No, it is equal to 88. So it will not go inside this if condition. Correct? Perfect. Now it will take the subject marks. What is the subject marks? 66 for chemistry. It will come here. Let's ignore the maximum marks. That's working fine. Now what will it will do? It will check, is 88 greater than 66? True or false? True. So it will go inside and it will set 66 as the new minimum mark. So now minimum marks is 66. And then for 77, 99 and 92, it will never go inside because this condition will never evaluate to true. And now if we see, our logic is working fine and both our calculations are working as expected. Let me just get rid of all the extra comments. Save. Save. Let's execute it. And this time max mark should be 92, minimum mark should be 66. Let's quickly take a look. Execute. Debug only. So you see 92 and 66. Let's make one more attempt. So let's say physics is something that we don't have any idea about. So let's say execute. This time max mark should be 92, minimum should be 55. Let's test it out. So minimum is 55. All right. I hope you understood how I resolved this problem. And it was a step-by-step thing, right? We are not able to solve it directly. It is always you'll have to, when you write methods, you'll get problems when you write methods. And when you get a problem, you'll have to find a way to fix it. Okay, without impacting your existing solution. So we ensured that the maximum marks logic is working fine. Only for minimum marks we introduce this if loop, if condition, and we were able to figure it out. All right. Now some of you might think, Himanshu, is this the only way of doing it? No, there's never one way of doing things, right? In Salesforce, no one solution is the correct solution. There are multiple possible solutions to everything. Now, what I'll do is I'll create another method here. Okay, for now, I'll just comment it out. I just want to keep it here, but I'll keep it commented out. I'll say static void handle check high and low, and here the variable should be my report card again. Now this depends on how much you know about your collections, correct? What we did right now is iterated over our key set. So for each key, I was getting a value, then I was doing a comparison here. However, there's another method that's available that we can use, which is my report card dot values. What does this return? This will return all the numbers, all the values, correct? So why can I not use this particular method directly? Now what is this method returning? It is returning a list of integers. It will return a list of integers, all my marks. Do you want to quickly check what does it return? I'll say system.debug all my marks. Let's see what does it return. Okay, first of all, then we'll proceed. So I know of a method that is values. Instead of key set, I'm using the values, which is giving me all the values in the map. Okay, nothing about the keys, only the values. So if I go ahead and try to hit it, I'll say basic use cases apex dot check high and low, and I'll pass the same report card. Okay, so what should I get? I should get the list of 55, 66, 77, 79, and 92. I'll highlight it, execute highlighted. It says the variable does not exist. Okay, we need to execute this also, so I'll put it here. So I'll execute this entire section, execute highlighted. Right? Now see what does it print. It prints you all the numbers, all the marks. So now you have all the marks. I know another method which is all my marks dot sort. What does this do? This sorts the entire numbers that I have from ascending to descending. If I now debug it again, I'll see my marks in ascending to descending. Right? The smallest coming in the very first and the last is the highest. So now if I were to tell you, can I pick the first number as the minimum mark and the last number as the maximum mark? Yes. So you see, we reduced our line of code from 12 to 15 lines to just 3-4 lines. System.debug, let me just copy this line. In just 2 lines, we were able to achieve what we achieved in 6 to 8 lines with that amount of logic, just because we know 2 other methods. Right? So maximum marks and minimum mark. What will be the minimum mark? The minimum mark will be all my marks dot get of 0, right? Or I can simply put array notation. The very first element after sorting would be the smallest element. And what about the maximum one? It will be the last element, correct? So now how do I put the last element? I don't know the size, correct? So what I can do is I can simply take all my marks dot size minus 1. Why am I doing that? Because the index starts from 0, correct? So 0 would be 88, first index would have 55, second index would have 66, third index would have 79, fourth index would have 92. See, what is the index number, highest index number? It is 4. But how many numbers are you storing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which is why I want to access the fifth number. How do I say it to the system? Total size, which is 5 minus 1, 4, which is why this condition here. So all my marks dot size, which is 5 minus 1, 4. So I'll get the fourth index, which is the last index. All right, let's quickly save it and let's try to see the result. Saved up fine, execute. Log has opened. Let's see the debug only. So you see 92 and 55 working perfectly fine. Instead of all of this hodgepodge and all of this understanding, putting initializations and all of this stuff, only 2 lines of code and you are able to resolve the same problem. Okay, so this is the advantage of having methods or knowing more things than others in your bucket. Some I might be able to solve this using this concept, but you will be able to solve it using just two lines if you know these methods. Correct? So this is where your smart thinking comes into the picture. And this will only come once you do lot of use cases, lot of solutions, and you know most of the methods. Oh, okay, I know that method that can do this. Why don't I use that here? Why am I using the straightforward approach that everyone uses? So just always keep that edge over others by knowing a bit more about certain things. Try to. All right. So that was our use case on who is the best. Perfect. I'll see you in the next one.